Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are not. They're even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin and Alfredo. And it has finally happened. Dame Lillard has asked for a trade out of Portland. I think we all knew this was going to happen. I think we all have known this was going to happen for a couple of years now. And his preferred destination is the Miami Heat. The big question is for Lillard, though, is what trade would make the most sense for him? What team would make the most sense for him to get traded to? And he wants to go to the Heat, and I think it makes the most sense for him to go to the Heat. I think it definitely makes the most sense for him to go to the Heat because they have the most to give up. They're able to give up, a Tyler Hero. Like, for example, if you wanted to get traded like the Nets, who are the Nets going to be able to give up for Damian Lillard? Ben Simmons? I mean, really, they can't really give up anyone for Dame Lillard. Same with teams like the Jazz. Who would the Jazz give up for Dame Lillard? Colin Sexton? The Spurs, who would they give up for Dame Lillard? So those teams really make no sense. Even the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks would be able to give up as much for Dame Lillard. But I think Dame Lillard would rather want to be with the Heat than the Knicks. You also see interest with the Sixers and the Clippers, but the Clippers would definitely have to give up Paul George if they traded for Dame Lillard, and then the Sixers would have to give up Tyrese Maxey. So looking at it right now, I think it's the Miami Heat. I think he is going to get traded to the Heat. It's not official yet, but I think he's going to go to the Heat. And this would be an awesome fit for the Miami Heat. This would put them right there with the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Heat do make the most sense right now because, they do have the pieces that they could trade up. They have the assets. And they've lost a couple guys in free agency as well. Gabe Vincent went to the Lakers. The Heat kind of got to get a couple guys in there. Dame Lillard would be perfect because, again, the Heat were right there. But, again, they need one more piece. And Dame Lillard would be that guy. So, absolutely, it makes the most sense. Because some of the other ones, like the Nets, like Markel Bridges, but, it's decent as well. Ben Simmons. They have some draft picks, but, I don't know. Does Portland want to go that route, and just kind of acquire as many draft picks as they can? The Sixers would be an interesting one, but, it sounds like they don't want to give up Maxey. So, the Heat right now seem like they make the most sense to go after Dame Lillard or get the trade for him.
Absolutely. And the thing is if you're Portland, you have two options. Do you want to do right by Dame Lillard and just and and trade him to where he wants to go, or do you do what's best for your team? I personally think you do what's best for your team. Like, say Miami doesn't give you a good package, you don't do that. I don't care if Dame Lillard. I know you want to be loyal to Dame and you want to make Dame happy, but if Miami doesn't give you a good package, there's no way you should trade him there. You gotta take what the best package is. You gotta take what the best package is. That's why this might take a while. This might not happen until maybe the beginning of August, because you gotta take what the best package is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The GM and everybody else in that front office have a job to do. And yeah, Dame Lillard's been loyal to that franchise for a while now. And yeah, you want to make him happy and, kind of thank him for his services. But yeah, you gotta be straight up and say, yeah, for this franchise, we got to take, the best package that comes our way. And if that's not the Miami Heat and that's somewhere else, you got to ship them off there. Because yeah, you got to worry about your job as general manager and other guys in that front office. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, you want to thank him for his time and you want to send him a place where he wants to be. But if you don't get the best package for that, if Miami doesn't send you the best package, then yeah, you can't send him to Miami. It just, I would not do that as a front office.
No, absolutely not. You really can't. You got to do what's best to build this team, to rebuild this team with around guys like Scoot Henderson and Jerry Grant and Simmons. So you have to do what's best. Yeah, you got to do what's best. And yeah, if it's a bad package, you should not take it. If Miami gives you a bad package, I don't think you should take it. But I do think Miami could pretty much offer the best package. A couple first-round picks, Tyler Hero. That's why, in my opinion, I think he's going there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right now, it seems like, Miami makes the most sense right now for the guys they have. And, some of the other teams that are on the list, don't have as many of the same assets as the Miami Heat do. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. It seems like the most sense right now for Dame Lillard is that he's going to Miami.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, imagine Dame Lillard does get traded to Miami. How much pressure then would be on him to win a championship? I think there would be a lot of pressure. I think there would be a ton of pressure on him to get to the NBA Finals. I think he has got to get to the NBA Finals, because the team he would be joining, say he gets traded to the Heat, the team he would be joining got to the NBA Finals twice without him, and he's never been to the NBA Finals in his career. Now, he's had to go through some really, really tough teams. He's had to go through some really tough Warrior teams to try to get to the finals. But say he gets traded there, there's a ton of pressure on Dame Lillard to get to the NBA Finals. Yeah,
there absolutely is. Because we have the Celtics. That they're pretty good. We'll see what else they do this offseason. The Bucks, I think, are going to be right back there. The Sixers really can't get out of their own way. So there's room there for another team like Miami to kind of come in and find a way to go over the hump. Yeah, he's not getting any younger. He's up there in the 30s. Jimmy Butler's in his 30s. Like, both those guys are getting up there in age. And, Pat Riley probably wants to win one more too, because, how much longer is he going to be sticking around? He's what, in his 80s now or close. So, for Dame, I think there's a lot of pressure there to go in there right away, because, with him, Butler, and if they can keep Bam out of buy, if they don't have to trade him to Portland and a future deal, then yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure on Miami to get back to the finals and, hopefully get the trophy.
Absolutely. And if they make this trade, they're not going to trade Bam. If they make the trade, I think it's definitely going to be Tyler Hero. I think it will definitely be Hero if they make this trade. But as you said, just a ton of pressure. It'll be, if he goes to Miami, just a ton of pressure on him to win that to win a title, because to win a title, or even probably mostly to get to an NBA final, but definitely to win a title, because great players in this league get judged on winning championships.
Yeah, they do. And sometimes it's not always fair. They're not in the right situation or the right kind of market. But yeah, there's championships are high, very highly regarded, and yeah, we hold them in a kind of very high standard. So yeah, Dame Lillard is one of the fantastic players out there. Again, there's a lot of great point guards in this league. So yeah, maybe at times he does go a little bit underrated. But yeah, if he could win a title, he wouldn't really have, he really wouldn't be under the radar too much anymore, obviously. So yeah, for Dame, there's a lot of pressure on him in the Heat if this deal happens. Because yeah, Miami definitely has the talent to win one.
Absolutely. So we'll see what's going on with Dame Lillard in the next couple of weeks. But I think within the next month he will be traded, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him for wanting out of Portland, because they really didn't do enough to put a team. They didn't do what they needed to do to put a team around him to compete for a championship. The best they did was they drafted CJ McCollum. That was it.
Yeah, I know it It's tough because they can't really bring in free agents with their kind of with their cap. That it's tough in Portland to go out and get guys. They go play in Portland. I know Lillard and McCollum were two really good guards. Great backcourt. But yeah, they just didn't have enough around outside of those two, and it's tough. In the Western Conference that's been so good for so long, it was tough for them to get over the hump. And yeah, he's done a great job for that city, and has for the most part made them a playoff team. But yeah, he's been there for over a decade now, so or close to it. So I know for him, in Portland, it's definitely time to move on. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Portland because they lose a true star.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to James Harden. And on Friday, he opted into the last year of his contract with the 76ers, but he wants to be traded. But it looks like he wants to be. He did that because he wants to be traded somewhere else. He does not want to stay with the Sixers. And the big question is what team is the best fit for James Harden? And I think it's the Clippers. He wants to go to the Clippers, and I think it's the Clippers. Imagine if the Clippers are able to keep Paul George, have Paul George, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. That's a team you could argue is, and this is a major if they stay healthy. That's a major if. If this happens, they're up there with the Nuggets and the Suns as the best team in the West. And if they stay healthy, they're probably as good or better than the Suns.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole Pacific Division is getting better this offseason besides Sacramento.
No surprise. Outside of they did sign Sabonis. They did give Sabonis a deal though. They did re-sign. They did extend Sabonis though.
They did. They didn't do anything else though. They re-signed Harrison Barnes for too much money, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, the Clippers are, if they need James Harden here again, and James Harden, as you mentioned, injuries. Yeah, Paul George, Kawhi haven't stayed healthy. When James Harden wants to be, he's been a very durable player in this league. So you could count on him to play, 75, 80 games, which will help. Him and Westbrook, I don't know. That seems like an odd fit. I don't know. Those two want the ball in their hands.
I know. They were together in OKC, though. But James Harden wasn't the player he was in OKC that he is now.
Yeah. I always forget about that. Harden was way back on those OKC teams, way back in the day. But, yeah, I think that roster could be pretty good. Do they have the can they figure out kind of the depth for that team? Could be a question mark, but yeah, you put those four together. If they could stay healthy and if they're healthy going to the playoffs, yeah, that's a team that could be a threat to anybody in the Western Conference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if they could. And if you're James Harden, I think if it's between them and the Knicks, you definitely would rather have it be the Clippers because the Knicks, if they get James Harden, there's a good chance that the Sixers are going to want either RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. And say it's Brunson, Harden, and Barrett, or Brunson, Harden, and Randall. I don't know if that core is even good enough to win a championship with at this stage in Harden's career.
No, I don't think. I'm with it. I don't think they do. I don't see him fitting with Tom Thibodeau. I just don't see that fit. He doesn't seem like that Tom Thibodeau, type of player. I just don't see it. So, yeah, I don't think it'd work out if he goes to New York. I don't know. I wouldn't want him. If I was a Knicks fan, I don't know if you want him to come in, but I really would not want him. And yeah, I don't think he'd make the Knicks a championship team.
I mean, as a Knicks fan, he'd be an upgrade over. Say they traded Barrett or Randall, he'd be an upgrade over one of those two guys. So I wouldn't mind him. But the biggest thing is, if we're going to make that trade, we got to be championship contenders. And I don't know even if we make that trade, if we are championship contenders.
Yeah, I don't think he would be. I'm with you. I don't think not in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics, the Bucks. The Heat, if they do get Dame Lillard, I don't think they beat any of those three teams right there. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. But as we've said, the best fit for Harden is definitely the Clippers. I think if he goes there, even if they have to even if they have to trade Paul George, him and Kawhi, if they stay healthy, they could be one of the. They still could be one. And if Westbrook plays the way he did in the playoffs, now you don't expect to have that. We'll see if that's the Westbrook that plays all the time. We'll see. We really haven't seen that Westbrook in 2 years. But even if they trade Paul George and it's Westbrook, Harden, and Kawhi, I still think that team could compete in the West. Yeah,
I think they could. I know the West. Outside the Nuggets, you got the Suns that got a power there. The Warriors are kind of at the end of the line there. I know we'll get to the Mavericks there, but I don't really. I know they got two stud guards, but I don't know how that pairing's going to work out in the future. So yeah, I think there's a window there for the Clippers. I know when they got Kawhi, they've been kind of waiting. They got Paul George as well, and that Clippers teams, or that the fan base been kind of waiting to knock on the door. They've been knocking on the door for a while, and they just never been able to hump. So yeah, they could add a James Harden. I think there's a chance that those guys could stay healthy going into April in the playoffs. I think there's a chance there that Clippers team can knock on the door and win the Western Conference. It'll be tough, but I think they could, think they got a chance.
But those guys staying healthy is a major if, especially if they keep Paul George is still there and Kawhi Leonard staying healthy is a major if. But you just mentioned the Mavs. We'll talk about them right now. On Friday, they re-signed Kyrie Irving. He is back with the Mavs, so you're pairing him and Luka. It's a 3-year deal, so for the next 3 years, it looks like it's going to be him and Luka. The big question is are the Mavs title contenders with Kyrie back? And looking at I know on paper, they are. But looking at Kyrie's history, go all the way back to when he didn't want to play with LeBron anymore. Then he held Tatum and Brown back in Boston. We saw all the nonsense that happened in Brooklyn, and they went 5-11 with the two of them together. I'm going to say no. I don't think they're a team that gets out of the first round of the playoffs because I know they really had no choice. The biggest mistake the Mavs made was and we all know the biggest mistake. They didn't re-sign Jalen Brunson. Not re-signing Jalen Brunson was a huge mistake because, if you added maybe another guy with Kyrie and Brunson, and even if you kept Kyrie and Brunson together, those two got to the conference finals in 2022. Then you lose Brunson. You then add Kyrie, and it didn't work last year. And I just don't think this combo with Luka and Kyrie is a championship combo.
No, absolutely not. I completely agree with you. I cannot see him and Luka playing with each other more than a couple of years. Like I think one of those two are going to ask out, ask for a trade in the next couple of years. I don't see that, or Luka signed somewhere else in the future. I don't see this working. It didn't seem to work too well with a couple. I know they didn't play a ton together, but I didn't think it worked in the regular season when they were together. I don't see that pair working out. Yeah, Kyrie, again, he made a huge mistake leaving that extension on the table in Brooklyn when the Nets re-signed or extended KD. He left all that money on the table. So for Kyrie, him and Luka, I don't see it in the Western Conference. Again, those two have the talent. I just don't see those two being able to get along well enough. I don't know if they got the pieces else outside of those two to help them out. And yeah, I think Dallas, the playoff playing team, but yeah, get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, they did draft that. They do have that big guy from Duke, but he's going to be starting right away. But that's a rookie, Tim Hardaway. I just don't think those pieces are good enough to be a championship contender. And with Kyrie Irving, as I said, every team he's gone to ever since he's left LeBron, it just hasn't worked. With him. No. He's very, very talented, but it just has not worked with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, Kyrie's problem is just he gets in his own way, and and it's off the court stuff or stuff he says in the media. Like he just he loves to hear himself talk at times, and I think he's just and that's kind of the problem with him is he just hasn't been able to get along with some of these guys, and the way it ended in Boston, the way it ended in Brooklyn, the way out in the Cleveland kind of. With him, saying he didn't like playing LeBron, like this is all stuff that, has not helped him. And again, what Fred VanVleet's going to make more money than him, and I'd take if Kyrie Irving if Kyrie's earned talent, I would take Kyrie any day over the week over Fred VanVleet. But again, Kyrie's a head case, and that's the biggest issue with Kyrie in his career.
Yeah,
it's a head case.
It's the nonsense. Who would imagine Fred VanVleet would make more money than Kyrie Irving? It's amazing to think that's what happened, but it did.
Yeah, it did, and again for Kyrie, that's all the issues that he's just brought up with teams, and again, it's just tough. The Mavericks are bidding against themselves. Nobody else was going out there and going to get Kyrie Irving because they know how much trouble that you could get in with having Kyrie Irving. Just, you mentioned, you could ask the Boston Celtics, the Cavs, the Nets, he's not helped out in other places he's been. So yeah, Kyrie hurt himself, and yeah, it's crazy. With all the talent he has, he can make all the money in the world, but he's held himself back.
Absolutely. So now going to another Western Conference teams, and the Warriors brought Draymond Green back. 4 years, $100 million, only making $25 million a year, and he opted out of $27 million. I mean, he could have just stayed there for a year and made $27 million. But the big question is are the Warriors better with Draymond back? And I'm going to say no. I think this team is aging. I think Klay Thompson is aging. I think Draymond Green is aging. Draymond Green has not averaged more than 10 points a game in 5 years. You traded a guy who averaged 20 points a game last year. I mean, yeah, I know they want to keep the core together, and they think, oh, no, the chemistry is going to be better because him and Jordan Poole is gone. You traded a guy you extended last offseason and averaged 20 points a game. I understand Jordan Poole wasn't good in the series against the Lakers. I understand that. But right now, he's a better player than Draymond Green, and he would be better for your franchise going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think he's such a glue guy for that team, and he's been such a, I don't know if a leader is the right word, but he's been, big part of kind of that those champions. He's been, part of those championship teams. Again, he does all the little things. Yeah, he's not a scorer. He can't do that, but he'll do all. He'll do the dirty work. Again, Kevin Looney had a really good first round. At center position. That seems to work, but yeah, it's an aging team. For 25 million, it's a lot. Like, if they got him back for now, no way he was going to accept this, but if they got him back for $10 to $15 million a year, then yeah, I think my stance is different. But yeah, giving him 25 million a year, seems like a lot of money to give a guy like that at his age. And yeah, an aging team, it just seems like, again, in the next 2 to 3 years, this Warriors team, I think, is going to fall apart because, you think of Clay and Curry, the first thing in basketball is your legs that go. Those two are just, those two are pure shooters. And when that goes, how good will those two really be? So, yeah, I think this could end poorly for Golden State.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see in the next 3 to 4 years this thing completely falling apart for the Golden State Warriors. But we'll talk about another team in the Western Conference, and that is the Lakers. And the Lakers made some interesting moves. They brought back Austin Reeves. They brought back Roy Hachimura. They brought back D'Angelo Russell. The big question for the Lakers is, are they as good as the Suns and Nuggets? One thing we do know is they'll definitely be a better team in the regular season because they'll have their team together for the entire year. The big question, though, is are they as good as the Suns and Nuggets with these moves? And I'm going to say no. I think they're definitely worse than Nuggets. They got swept them last year. I don't think they're as good of a team as the Phoenix Suns. With the addition of Bradley Beal, you could potentially have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Kevin Durant in your starting five. I think they're not. I don't think they're as good as the Phoenix Suns. If you look at the Lakers starting five, obviously you got LeBron and AD, but AD didn't play up to potential in that conference finals, especially in games 2 and 4. And then you brought back Russell and you brought back Reeves, but I think the Suns have a better starting five, and I think the Nuggets have a better overall team than a better starting five and a better overall, clearly a better team, and they proved that last year than the Lakers. So I think the Lakers are going to be good next year with these moves, but I don't think they're going to be one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference like the Suns and the Nuggets are.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, yeah, they're a playoff team, but they really only trusted 4 guys last year in that series. And I know they bring in Gabe Vincent, but yeah, he could maybe be that 5th guy for him, but we'll find out. Did the system in Miami kind of help him out, or could he come into LA and have an impact like he did with Miami? D'Angelo Russell didn't play well in the playoffs. And they only trust 4 guys in that series. So yeah, think they've done a nice job this offseason, but yeah, I don't think they're at the point yet where they're a championship contender. I think they still got to do a little bit more, but yeah, they got to think a little bit better. But they're not at the level that the Suns or Nuggets are at the moment. And yeah, maybe they get to semifinals, but I don't see them getting past the Western Conference semifinals.
Absolutely not. And the thing is LeBron, he's not getting older. AD, he really hasn't evolved his game in 8 years. He's the same player he was 8 years ago. Doesn't make guys better around him. No, I'm not saying this. I'm not arguing his talent. His talent's phenomenal. He's phenomenal defensively. But the problem is he's good, and he's a really good big, underneath the basket. But he doesn't make guys better around him. He doesn't shoot threes. And in today's game, if a player like that is not a top 10 player in the NBA. So I think the Lakers, they've made good moves, and everybody says they won free agency. Well, yeah, they won free agency because there's not really a big-time free agent that's really been available. really the big time free agent that was available was Fred VanVleet. That was really the big time free agent that was, and Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving got re-signed by the Mavs. So there really wasn't a big time free agent available. So they say they won free agency, great, but they didn't win the offseason. A team like the Suns getting Bradley Beal, that's winning the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. They went out and got another star. The Lakers, they haven't gotten that third star to pair around AD in LeBron. That just, they haven't done that. And AD played pretty well in the playoffs. He played a lot of minutes. He seemed pretty healthy. But he's a guy that hasn't been healthy either. He's still not a 3-point shooter, which does not help things. And LeBron's not that, LeBron's still a decent shooter, but that was never really, in the playoffs, I think he shot about 25% of LeBron. He did not have a great playoffs from shooting 3. It's still a team that, they'll be decent shooting from 3 next year, but it's not a team that's gonna light you up from 3 most nights. And they have some really good kind of pieces around them, but I don't know if I could count on all those guys to put up 20 a night. Maybe you get one of them to put up 20 a night. That may still not be enough. So they need a couple other guys, especially Russell's got to play better in the playoffs. Again, if he could go out there and play better in the playoffs, maybe the Lakers have a better chance. But until they add another superstar, I don't. They've had a good offseason. So far they've had a good offseason, but I wouldn't call them the winners of it so far.
And you made a good point about Russell. Yeah, he definitely doesn't play better in the playoffs. He doesn't play better in the playoffs. If Russell doesn't play better in the playoffs, the team's not going to go that far. They're not going to go that far. You saw when he didn't play well against the Nuggets, they got swept. So Russell's got to be better in the playoffs. AD's got to be better in some of these series too, because LeBron can't do it all at his age. He's still a top 10 player. He's not the player he once was. So guys have to step up around LeBron James. It's going to be a championship team.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And I know we talked. Maybe they should get, when they got eliminated, maybe they should get rid of AD and kind of go a different route and try to get LeBron somebody else. But it seems like they want to keep AD. So, do they try to go get a third superstar at the deadline? I know they, some of the guys they signed, they what is it? You can't trade it for 60 days or something, 60 to 90 days. So, maybe at the trade deadline, it's something that they try to go get a third star. But if they don't have that third star, I don't see this team, being a true contender in the West. I could see them getting the semifinal, but I don't see this team getting the Western Conference Finals with this core around them right now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the Yankees have won their first 2 games against Baltimore, and the Red Sox saved their season last week, this weekend. Last weekend. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
And we're back. And how about those Yankees? How about those Yankees? They've won 2 in a row against the Orioles. And these are 2 huge wins because this pretty much draws them to 2 games behind them in the wild card race. So 2 huge wins for the Yankees these last 2 nights. And really the biggest reasons why they won both those games. Number one, the clutch hitting from Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader, a huge 3-run homer, and then yesterday has that big 2-run double to put the Yankees up 7-3. 2 huge hits by Harrison Bader yesterday to put the game away, and then on Monday night to win the game. So 2 huge hits from a Harrison Bader. And number 2, this bullpen has been downright phenomenal. This bullpen's the best bullpen in baseball, and I don't even care if they don't have a consistent ninth-inning guy. This is the best bullpen in baseball because if you look at this team throughout the season, outside of Garrett Cole, very inconsistent rotation. We know their lineup has not been good this year because Judge has been out. But the bullpen has been the one constant. It has been absolutely phenomenal. And it showed up. It showed up yesterday when they got out of that bases loaded jam in the 6th. And it showed up on Monday night when they were down 3-0, first and third, 1 out. And Ramirez was able to get out of that jam. And they held those Orioles scoreless for the rest of the night. So this bullpen has been downright phenomenal for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been huge. And Clay Holmes has pitched better too. Mike King's been a guy they've been able to rely on. They've kind of gotten the job done, most nights. And this offense right now, late in the games when they have a 1-2 score lead, they got to hold on those leads. So I don't know if that, you don't trust that the offense to be able to be capable of coming back. I know Monday night was a good one. Tommy Kahnle's been really good since coming off the IL. Ian Hamilton's been really good as well. He was kind of a nobody, never heard his name until he first couple starts or, appearances with the Yankees. So their bullpen's been lights out, and Harrison Bader's been awesome. Swinging the bat, and defensively he's such a great player. And Anthony Volpe's been swinging the bat a lot better too lately since fixing his stance. It's amazing that our manager, hitting coach, couldn't figure that out, and a former teammate kind of said, "Hey, what was it? Your stance isn't open enough." And he's been awesome since then. So the offense has not been great, but like Monday night, such a great victory when you're down 3-0 to score 6 straight. And I know Baltimore, they have their eighth and ninth inning guys, but trying to get to those 2 guys. I know they got to Cano the other night. They got the 1 run off of them, but this offense, the bullpen's been great because you don't ever know with that rotation what's going to happen. And I just did see this: Jimmy Cordero suspended for the rest of the year for violating MLB's domestic violence policy. So he's all done. I know he hasn't been great in the bullpen, but just something.
Honestly, kick him off the team for that. Just kick him off the team. There's no need for that. Kick him off the team.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's no details. It just said so. Like I don't know any of the details or anything. I just saw it come up. So he's done till next season if he even comes back on the Yankees. So little info there, but we'll see. But the bullpen's been great. And with that starting routine being so inconsistent, they need that bullpen to pitch well. And you never know with that offense. They, if they got to try to win 3-2 games, something like that, a lot of these nights.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yesterday was an exception when they scored 8 runs, but most nights it's these, 3-2, 2-1 ball games with this offense. And, you hope when Judge comes back, which we don't know when, this offense will get better because as you said, you've seen Volpe hit the ball better. Obviously Bader's really clutch. Torres
had a couple good days.
Torres has been hitting the ball better. I don't want to give Stanton a ton of praise, but even in that Oakland series, Stanton was pretty good too. So this lineup, I think if they can get Stanton back, Judge back won't be as bad as it's been. So I think it's nice to see guys stepping up in this lineup. That's been nice. Another big positive for the Yankees is they're going to get Carlos Rondon back. I saw him pitch that rehab start at Somerset, pitched 4 shutout innings, had another rehab start at Hudson Valley. So he pitched really well in his rehab starts, and let's hope Rondon can make a difference. Because the thing about this rotation, Cole has been really good. Herman, outside of that perfect game, very, very inconsistent. Severino, he was absolutely terrible on Saturday. He's been very inconsistent. Same with Clark Schmidt. Nestor Cortez when he's been pitching. Johnny Brito. Just a lot of inconsistency in that rotation. Hopefully Rondon could be what the Yankees paid for, that number 2 behind Garrett Cole.
Yeah, they're going to have to because, I know they got Vasquez tonight, and he's pitched pretty well, in his couple appearances that he's been up here. He's looked pretty good. So, but yeah, the rest of the rotation outside of Cole, you just don't ever trust it. Yeah, Herman comes off that perfect game. Didn't pitch great on Monday night against the O's. Severino, he got shelled against a Cardinals team that's really struggling. And, that's the other thing about the Yankees, too, is, they don't play well this weekend. And then you take 2 straight from the O's. You don't really understand this team. And that rotation kind of the same way, You get one good start, from Herman. And then, the next start, he really struggles. Schmidt's been kind of the same way. You don't know what you're going to expect from him. You hope Sevy can figure it out, but I'm starting to get less and less confident in that. And, again, he's a free agent at the end of the season. So, like the way he's been pitching, I think this maybe could be his last season in New York. You kind of hope when Rondon comes back that you get that number 2, that lefty, that could kind of shut teams down. Because, if you can get him and Cole healthy, and if those 2 stay healthy for the remainder of the year, who knows when Judge comes back. It sounds like he's going to try to play through the pain, but like how effective would he be?
He won't be as effective. He definitely will not be close to as effective if he does that.
Yeah, so that's kind of the issue. So, the offense is going to kind of be the thing that holds the team back at times. And, if you get 2 guys, and Rodon would probably be the ace, in a lot of places around Major League Baseball. So if you get those 2 guys back in the rotation, that's great. It takes some pressure off your bullpen, too. Because, at some point, I know Rodon probably not going 7 innings right out of the gate, but hopefully at some point, most nights he can give you 7 innings and kind of give your bullpen a rest.
Absolutely, and they need a guy like that. They need a guy like Rondon that could take pressure off this bullpen. This bullpen's phenomenal, but this bullpen can't get overused. If it continues to get overused with starters pitching like less than 5 innings, this bullpen's going to wear down in August and September. So to keep this bullpen great, they need good starts from and Rondon's definitely going to help that because I feel like he's a guy that's going to get into the 6th inning and get into the 7th inning of ball games.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the Rays. They always overuse their bullpen. They always have like 15 pitchers on the IL, like every time, So that's kind of the, that's the big worry of overusing your bullpen is, you get a lot of guys injured and they're usually not like Tampa Bay where they could just go to AAA and they just find another guy that could throw 100 and shut you down every night. So, you want that bullpen to be rested and, healthy going in October, if you get, or even late September, because this team probably is going to have to battle for a spot for one of those wild cards. So, you'd hope they're mostly healthy going into late September and can give you some big outs and big spots.
Absolutely. And this series is big. I mean, say the Yankees win the next 2 games, they're tied. They're tied with the Orioles. But I don't think they're going to sweep them, especially tonight. With even though Vasquez pitched well, you have Vasquez and Severino. You probably aren't going to win both those 2 games. So if they could take 3 out of 4, that would be really, really nice against this team. But no matter what they do against the Orioles, they need to take advantage. Unlike what they did in St. Louis this weekend, they need to take advantage of playing a team like the Cubs this weekend in the Bronx. Yeah,
they absolutely do. Again, losing 2 to the Cardinals is very disappointing. It's a last place team. I know on paper they shouldn't be as bad as they are, but they've been. So you should have to take care of business. And for the Yankees, they got to win 2 or one of these next 2 games going in Chicago this weekend. And you got Tyone on Friday, and Jordan Montgomery shut us down twice this year, or twice in straight up. I wouldn't be shocked Tyone goes out there and throws 6-7 scoreless innings against us. But it's another Cubs team. I know they're starting to play better Chicago. But it's a series at home. You should at least win 2 out of 3 going in the All-Star break, and you kind of feel you feel better about yourself that you potentially could be like 11, 12 games over 500, which without Judge, for the last month or so, you feel pretty good because you can go at least 500 without Judge. You have to take that.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing about Tyone. he's not going to shut us down like Montgomery did, because Montgomery's the Cardinals' best pitcher. He's definitely not as good as Jordan Montgomery, as we both know. And yeah, and going back to saying being 500 without Judge, to be 10 games over without Aaron Judge, you are in a good spot. I mean, obviously the biggest that they're going to need to add a bat. They're going to need to add a bat at the trade deadline, and they may need to add another starting pitcher. They should not touch this bullpen. They absolutely should not touch this bullpen. Maybe Boone eventually figures out who the ninth inning guy is. We'll see if he does that, but they should not touch this bullpen. But they're definitely at the trade deadline going to need a bat, and they might even need another starter.
Yeah. I was reading the other day. I've heard they've been linked to Chase McCormick with the Astros, but like he's not a great offense. I just wonder if that's a defensive piece. And then
that's again, we don't want defensive pieces.
Yeah, I know.
We need offensive pieces.
Yeah, and then the other name was Jock Peterson, which sounds like every year they're in on Jock Peterson, but nothing happens. And I don't know why the Giants would trade him. Like they're in contention.
Yeah,
so
I don't think the Giants should trade him at all.
Yeah, so those are the two names I kind of read the other day. I was reading an article kind of linked so far for the Yankees, but yeah, I agree with you. They need another bat. Third base would kind of be nice because Donaldson has not been great. I know DJ's been struggling. Does IKF play more third coming up? Next couple weeks. But yeah, I agree. I think they need to find another bat or another starter. I know you may get Cortez back soon too, but yeah, I'd be okay grabbing a third starter as well. I think that would help as well. And even if you have to go to like a 6-man rotation, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world either.
Yeah, I'm not huge on a 6-man rotation, but I am huge. I definitely want to add a starter because the rotation has just been inconsistent outside of Garrett Cole. It's just been inconsistent. If they could add more, you can't ever have enough pitching going into the playoffs. They can add another arm. That'd be really nice. But the main priority is a bat. They need another bat in this lineup because Stanton is not the player he once was. If you look all throughout the lineup, I mean, Trevino wasn't what he was as good as he was last year. Donaldson's been terrible. LeMahieu's not been the same since 20. Hasn't been as good since 2020. So they definitely need a bat. That is the number one priority at the trade deadline. And if they don't do it, they're not going to win a championship.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. They don't. And again, we've seen the last couple of years this offense is shut down, especially when they face Houston. Tampa Bay got them a couple years ago in 2020. The thing that's really hurt this team, in the playoffs is been the bats and guys, and pitchers sometimes beside outside of Garrett Cole just haven't been great. And
even Garrett Cole wasn't good a couple of years ago.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. But last year, hopefully, he got over those kind of hurdles. Because he looked better last year in the playoffs. But yeah, they need a bat, and it'd be nice to get another starter, somebody too with some playoff experience would be great as well. So yeah, I think those are the two big needs for the Yankees. Because yeah, they need somebody else in that middle of that lineup. Because even Rizzo, I know Rizzo's starting to hit a little bit better, but he still hasn't been great since like that injury, that neck injury. On Memorial Day weekend against the Padres, like he hasn't really been the same since then.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to the Red Sox, and this weekend they pretty much saved their season. They're 4 games out behind the Yankees in the wild card race right now, but this weekend they saved their season because they swept Toronto. If they didn't win this week, they would would have lost like 2 out of 3. They would have been like 6 games behind. And looking at a team that's in front of them right now, the Angels and all their injuries, there's a good chance they could end up passing out the Angels, seeing what they got this weekend with Oakland coming to Fenway. And I know they got 2 tough games with Texas, but they got Oakland coming to Fenway. So this week they did save their season. Verdugo hit that huge home run on Sunday. Devers had a big game on Saturday. So the Red Sox are 12-1 against the Yankees and the Blue Jays. That has saved them in the first half of the year.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Because for the Red Sox, it seems like they played up to their competition, but they've played down to bad competition. That's kind of been their problem this year. And this weekend was huge for them. They go up to Toronto. They're 6-0 now against them. And the offense came up big. They got some help from Bo Bichette on Saturday. The just horrible base run decision that he made, rounding, their base coach held them up, but he ignored the stop sign. It was out by 20 feet, and he would have tied the game in the 9th on Saturday. But yeah, it was huge. It was huge this weekend to get that one. Paxton kind of set the tone of the weekend the way he pitched Friday night, and he's been awesome. Him and Brian Balow have both been terrific, and those 2 guys in the rotation have really kind of because they don't have much else right now outside of those two. There's not much in that rotation right now. So, yeah, Boston saves their series. I know tough start to the week, against a good Ranger team yesterday, but with Baylor on the mound tonight, they got a chance, and that and the way he's been pitching, that's gonna be a good test for him with that lineup with the Rangers going to bring. So we'll see how he does tonight. But yeah, for Boston, it's a huge weekend for him because after the tough series against Miami, they had a really nice bounce back weekend.
Absolutely. Brought up James Paxton. James Paxton has pitched really, really, really well for them. Obviously, Bayo's been good. But, and talking about this rotation, they're absolutely going to need a starter. They're definitely going to need a starting pitcher. That's their number one. As we say with the offense with the Yankees, the Red Sox number one priority to the trade deadline is they're going to need it. They're going to need another starter because this rotation is not – you're not winning with this rotation. So they're going to need another starter, and they're going to need more depth in the bullpen behind Kenley Jansen. So depth in the bullpen and starting pitching it's got to be a priority for Chaim Bloom at the trade deadline.
Yeah,
if they're still in it.
Yeah. That's the question. Like that's the problem with Boston. It's just like 1 week, like this weekend, they look like they're a playoff team. But then it's like the way I know Miami's had a really good year, but like they were pathetic against Miami the last week. So like for Boston, it's like like it just seems like such a sign of a mediocre team. Play really well 1 week, and then
as you said last week, they're a mediocre team, and they've been pretty much playing like it all year, and they've definitely proved it this week.
Yeah, so yeah, and again, Rangers are a really good team. I won't judge them off of just yesterday, so we'll see how they do these next 2 days. But yeah, they need some depth in that rotation. They've gotten good news on Sale. He's starting to throw every other day, so they may get him back. Sometime in August, like maybe early August. And John Schreiber was pretty good in that bullpen. Is going to be back, I think, the weekend, next weekend after the All-Star break. He should be back as well. And he's kind of been their 8th inning guy. So you add those two. But yeah, still, even when you add those two guys back, you're going to need another pitcher, starter and a reliever. They had to go the opener yesterday. Like there's just so many guys on the rotation that are banged up right now. And yeah, there's not many guys that they could kind of turn to down at the minors that are ready. So yeah, for Boston, it kind of feels like they want to kind of try to make another run, especially if their schedule coming up. You got the A's this weekend, you got at Chicago and at Oakland, and then you got a struggling Mets team, the next couple of series here. So they got some room to make up some ground, but again, they got to play better against these teams that have a pretty bad record because they have the 3rd most wins this year against teams that are above 500. So like they've done well. They just haven't taken care of business when they should.
No, and out of the All-Star breaks, probably starting after this Rangers series, this last series out of the All-Star break, and then these first couple series after the All-Star break, they got to take care of business. There's no reason this team should not, looking at their schedule in July, there's no reason this team should not be in it at July 30th at the trade deadline. There's no reason. And if they aren't, there's got to be change. If they're not in it, there's got to be changes that are made. They cannot afford to be losing games to the Mets. They can't afford to be losing games to the A's. They can't. Are they playing the White Sox or Cubs? I mean, it really doesn't matter. Cubs. It doesn't really matter, but they can't be affording to lose the games to the Cubs. They're better than all those teams. They have to win these games. They have to be. There's no reason. Like I said earlier, they shouldn't be in it at the trade deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. They shouldn't. They're right there, and as you mentioned with the Angels injuries now, they're probably going to start sliding. The Mariners are, maybe they get going, but they seem like a mediocre team as well. Same thing with Cleveland. Like, yeah, there's a chance there for Boston to get back into this thing, but they got to take it. And yeah, now Chaim Bloom obviously has to help and get some more depth in the rotation, the bullpen, and they got to add more pitching. But yeah, for Boston right now, there's a spot there for a take and to try to get back into that wild, or try to take one of those wild card spots. It'll be tough. They're 5 back right now, but again, with that schedule, they could really they can make that in a couple of weeks, a game or two. And if the Yankees or Astros kind of start to struggle here, so yeah, absolutely. They should be buyers here. I would think Chaim Bloom has to know that his job security's got to be kind of low. So you would think that he's gonna try to do what he has to do. I know he doesn't want to mortgage a farm system, but you would think he would.
At this point, he's got to go get someone. If they're in it, he's got to forget. You got to forget about the farm system at this point. You got to go out and get a starting pitcher. Who cares about the farm system at this point?
Yeah, I know he does care, and I know sometimes that goes through those guys' heads. But yeah, I completely agree. They do have to. They got to give up somebody to go, get an arm, and it'll help his job security if they make the playoffs. So I agree. You got to take those chances in his position right now, but we'll see if he does it. He seems kind of very conservative in those areas at times. So, we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, Boston definitely pitching the huge need right now.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up the show talking about Mike Trout as he heads to the IL. There's a good chance he's out for 4 to 8 weeks. He hurt with a wrist injury. He left Monday's loss to the Padres, and then last night Shohei Ohtani left the game with blisters. So we'll assume that Ohtani is going to be fine and he'll be back. But the big question is with Trout out, are the Angels still a playoff team? Can the Angels be a playoff team without Mike Trout? And I'm going to say no. I think they're going to fall out. I think they're going to fall out of the race. Urshela is still on the DL, and they really don't have a lot of pitching depth outside of Shohei Ohtani. So I think this team is going to fall out of the race, out of the wild card race with Trout out.
Yeah, unfortunately. I know Brandon Drury, I think they're going to get back after the All-Star break, which will help. Anthony Rendon. I know he left the game last night. He took a foul ball off his foot. I haven't seen if he's going to IL or anything tonight or today, so I don't know what his status is, but he's been somebody that's been better this year as well. So that hurts as well. But yeah, the rotation's not great outside of Ohtani. Probably helps that the All-Star break coming up where he'll get extended rest here that he doesn't have to pitch here for at least over 10 days. So that hopefully that'll help his blisters. But yeah, I just Drury's been pretty good, but outside of that in that lineup, Hunter Renfroe's had a pretty good year. This pitching staff isn't great, and their schedule too coming up is brutal. They got the Dodgers and the All-Star weekend, or to start before going to the All-Star break. Then they got the Astros, Yankees at home, Pirates and Tigers, but then they go to Toronto and Atlanta for the rest of July. That's not an easy schedule there. And even I won't say August schedule, but even looking at their schedule in August, it's a pretty brutal schedule right now. So I think for the Angels, it's going to be pretty tough unless they really make a couple of additions here at the trade deadline. So it's difficult. Yeah, it'll be difficult for the Angels to get out in there. Again, it'd be great for baseball for them to make the playoffs. But yeah, I think at this point, it's not impossible, but I think it's going to be a big uphill climb here, and we'll see how long Trout's out for.
And the big question is if this team is out of contention by July 31st, do they just move on do they trade Shohei Ohtani? That is the big question. That's going to be the big storyline that's going to be that we're going to be following over the next month, that if the Angels keep losing, there probably is a chance that they trade Shohei Ohtani.
There is, but I wouldn't trade him because you're not going to get your full money back for him. There's no way. There's no way you're going to get full. I know it's better than nothing when you lose on free agency, but I wouldn't trade him. I would try to, go out and go spend it. I know the Angels farm system isn't great, but I go out and go try to get a couple arms or another bat in that line. I would just try to make one push with them. I know they're going to lose in the Dodgers anyways, but I don't know. I know it's risky, but you're not going to get your money back for trading Ohtani. There's just no way, and I feel like it's better to I feel like it's better for him to try to go out there and try to go out there and hopefully add somebody and at least try to make a push here for the playoffs.
Yeah. But the thing is with Ohtani, but the thing is wouldn't you rather get value for him? Wouldn't you rather get value for Ohtani than to just lose him in free agency? Because as you said, they're probably going to lose him in free agency. If the Angels, and this is they're probably not going to be way out of it, but say they're not 8-9 games out of the wild card, they have a terrible month of July. Would you just consider moving on from him? I would.
I could see, yes. I think it depends on how much a team's going to give you. And I feel like too, every time we go through these trades, a big star goes and the team gives up their whole farm system, all those prospects seem to never pan out. And that's the thing too. It's unless you're getting an MLB kind of guy that's already been up here that has kind of established himself that he could survive up here, then maybe if you get a couple of those, but I don't know what franchise has those and would be willing to give up a couple of those. especially for a team that's in the hunt that would really want to use Ohtani. I don't know. But yeah, I could see your point. Trade him and get something back instead of you lose them and you get a compensation pick. I totally get it, but I feel like maybe there's a chance that they can make a run and they trade a couple guys. Trout, maybe there's a way that the Angels could somehow pursue him to come back. I don't think it's likely, but I think you might want to. You could try it, but I don't know. I totally agree with what you're saying that you could trade for him. Yeah, you get something back. You don't know what you're going to get back if it's just a bunch of prospects. You just never know. It just feels like every time this happens, the team that gets the prospects, it just never pans out for them. They always seem on the losing side of things.
Yeah, you made a good point. Yeah, because you've seen what you saw what happened to the Nationals when they traded Soto. You don't know if those prospects are going to pan out. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with the Angels. To see what happens with the Angels over the next months. We'll see what ends up happening with them without Mike Trout. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week recapping the first half of the baseball season and talking about any NBA news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Stinky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.